guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today we are adding the brand new Aranda that I got from Star Fisheries into the Goldfish Mega Tank. So hopefully those of you who watched the last video and the rest of the videos that I did on Star Fisheries, you'll know that I picked up some new fish. Now I did leave the last video on a cliffhanger, so I do apologise for that, but we have our brand new 2 Aranda in this bag right here. So I'm firstly going to get them acclimated to the tank, and then we can have a little close look at them. Hopefully you'll see the rest of the Aranda moving around in the shot. The green carpet algae is really starting to take over, and the tank is looking absolutely amazing. The fish are all super healthy and they are doing really well. And I have 2 new additions in this bag that I'm going to be adding to the tank. So let's lift up the bag and have a look at what we've got. So here are our 2 new Arandas. We have this stunning red and white, and also this absolutely beautiful calico. So I'm just going to add them into the tank here for acclimation. Now, a few of you may be saying, are you not going to quarantine those fish? Are you going to add any medications? Are you going to treat them? Are you going to put anything in the water before you add them to the tank? And ordinarily, I always advocate treating or quarantining your brand new fish. But as always, do as I say, not as I do. I am adding these as I know the source they have come from. I selected these fish personally, so I've seen how they act in the tank, and I can see that they are in really good health, and there is no visible issues, and there are also no visible issues of any fish within the tanks as well that I purchased them from. However, if you are purchasing fish from an unknown source, or potentially you're buying online and you've never purchased from somewhere before, then I would always advocate quarantining your fish, as it does no harm and it is always good to protect the current stock you have in your tank. But I feel really safe in adding these 2 fish into this tank, and I feel that they have been successfully and carefully quarantined and health inspected before I've actually purchased them from Star Fisheries. So I'm going to leave these guys for around 20 to 30 minutes, something like that. The water temperature is very close to what my tank is at Star Fisheries, so they're not going to need too long to acclimate, and then we can add them to the aquarium. It has now been 30 minutes since the fish have been sitting acclimating within the tank. Now they were at around 24.5 degrees, but this tank is actually just under 27 degrees because we've had so much warm weather. And as you can see, the fish are super active because they are absolutely loving the warm weather. Just before I release these guys, I thought we'd have a quick close look at some of the fish in the tank, especially Rambo, who is doing phenomenally. His wen has really started to heal up nicely, super active now, really happy. Nero's doing absolutely great as well. We also had quite a few name suggestions for the Kirin Aranda within the aquarium as well. Now I had loads of different names on Instagram, Facebook, and I think YouTube as well. But there were a few that really stuck out to me. One was Opal, the other was Aurora, like the Northern Lights, the Aurora you see in Scandinavian countries, and I thought that was a really good name. Unfortunately, the Kirin is all the way at the end of the tank, so you can't quite see her on the video at the moment. But I thought Aurora was such a nice name, and it was really fitting to the colours of this fish. So that is what the Kirin Aranda is going to be called. We also have Calippo, the massive orange Aranda down in the front, orange or red. And we also need a name for the Tiger Aranda as well. Now, I may have already put a picture up on Instagram of the Tiger Aranda asking for name suggestions as well, but I haven't quite chosen or set on a name just yet for the Tiger Aranda. But we do have Calippo, we have Rambo, we have Oreo, Nero, Aurora, which is she's just in the back. Hopefully you can see her just in the back of the tank there. We also have Clementine, who is the female Aranda as well, but we still need a name for the Tiger Aranda just here. But overall, they're doing super well, feeding on that natural algae carpet. But I think now it's time to let these new fish into the tank and take a close look at them once we release them. Now I'm going to release our brand new Aranda into the tank, hopefully without getting splashed or too wet. So you wouldn't have seen the Aranda properly just yet unless you are a follower on Instagram, because As always, I release everything a little bit earlier on Instagram for the followers on there. So I'm just removing these elastic bands here, which are probably going to fly absolutely everywhere. And then, as you can see, the fish are always double bagged and they are packed with pure oxygen. Now, always with my Fancy Goldfish, I just let them temperature acclimate. I'm not worried about drip acclimating them. I always find this is more of a stressful process on the fish than just acclimating them to temperature. Because generally, if you're ordering fish within the same country, there's not going to be a massive difference in water parameters, and the fish can quickly adapt to those. I feel like keeping stress to a minimum level is far more important, and making sure they are just temperature acclimated is the best way forward. So I'm just opening the bags here, and now we're going to have a close look at the first fish. So first off, this fish is definitely the smallest fish in the tank. It's definitely not a small oranda, but definitely going to be the smallest fish in the tank. As you can see, it's a stunning calico. Hopefully it doesn't swim away too quickly, but hopefully you can see it's a really stunning calico. Nice large wen, nothing too extravagant. I have mentioned that I'm not going to be purchasing any fish with any crazy huge wen, but really nice tail on this fish, and I really like the colours. Nice and vibrant. Just a really nice fish overall. So that's the first one, and then this one is the slightly bigger fish. Now I'm probably going to get splashed by this fish. This is a red and white oranda that is already eluded me, but I will have a few shots. I'll take a few shots of the fish once they've settled in, and then we can have a close look at them. This side shot really gives you an aspect on how that green carpet is developing, and the fish are doing absolutely amazingly. You can really see how clear that water is through 8 feet of water, how the clarity has changed from removing all of that sand, and the fish are looking absolutely great. You can see the new red and white, and also the calico as well. Now the calico is definitely the smallest fish in the tank, but believe it or not, this fish is still around 5.5 inches in length, nearly 6 inches in length. It is still quite a big fish, and it is bigger than the palm of my hand. Really liking the mix of white, blue and red, and I definitely want to add a few more calicos of this sort of coloration to the tank. The tail is a lot smaller than the rest of the fish, and generally I wouldn't go for a tail much smaller than that on the calico. You can see obviously we have a nice flowing tail on the red and white, and overall I really prefer these slightly longer tails and bigger bodied fish. That is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing the new oranda getting added to the Goldfish Mega Tank. They've been in there for a couple of hours now, and they've settled right down. Now, I didn't mention, but I definitely won't be feeding them today. Normally, I like to wait around 24 hours before introducing the first feed into the aquarium and let them settle in a little bit. Obviously, they've had a bit of a stressful journey. They've been in those bags for around 2.5, 3 hours, so they are probably quite stressed out, and I won't feed them just yet. But they've settled in really well. The other fish have welcomed them into the tank, and that is it for today's video. Hopefully you have enjoyed today's video. If you do have any comments or questions, please leave those down below. But as always, thank you for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.